Okay, I am now going to demonstrate what needs to be done to properly tear apart a computer. What you see in front of you is an old 3U rack server. Been sitting out in the weather for a while, and it has some pretty interesting and surprising parts in it. So I'm going to get the camera set up at the proper angle, and I'm going to show you how to go about tearing apart a computer and what is in it that is worth considerable money sometimes. So bear with me, I will be right back. Okay, hopefully that is at a decent angle. It's kind of hard to do because it's working opposite me. But here's how we start. First thing we do is press down the lock here and then pry the cover off. I simply use a screwdriver over here on the front edge, and off comes the cover. Okay, most of this stuff is fairly basic to remove. This here can be removed simply by popping it off. There is right there a riser card for the expansion cards. Right here is some memory. Strangely enough, this thing only has 4 gigs of RAM. Each one of these is a 1 gigabyte memory stick. That's what it is. Okay. Right here we have another riser card sitting right here. Simplicity to take it out. Keep in mind you are destroying things. Don't get ridiculous in your attempts to salvage and not break. It's not necessary to avoid breaking things. That's kind of what you're here for. Okay, we just pop that out, and out comes. That is a math coprocessor chip. You don't find them in too many computers anymore. Another riser card. Okay, just yank your cables free. Remember, you're not here to salvage this. This is not something that you need to worry about breaking. Okay, so brute force is the name of the game. There you go. Brute force it. Something really nice right there. Now, these connectors have a plastic clip on them. Break the clip. That's all you got to do. Okay? You are not here to be nice. You are literally here to destroy it. So, destroy it. Okay, now, this one always gives me a little bit of difficulty, so rather than breaking the clip, I grab it and pull. Right here. Okay. Again. And I had an employee once that for the life of me I could not get him to understand that we were not wanting to rescue this stuff. Every time I would tell him take something apart, he would want to be very gentle with it. And I'd ask him, why are you being so gentle with this stuff? It's going to get destroyed. It's going to a recycler. They're going to grind it up into small pieces. And he said, but you might want to use it. Not likely. Okay. That's going to give me a bit of a problem. So we're going to remove this. The fans will just pop right out, yank them off the motherboard. That's simple. Didn't have this much problem on the other two I tore apart, but here we go. Yes, these fans, these qualify as electric motors. Save them. Now this thing is not wanting to cooperate today. Why? Doesn't normally give me this much trouble. What is the problem today? I don't know why it's giving me problems today, so I'll move to something else for a moment. And this is actually a redundant power supply, which is always nice on a rack server. That doesn't always want to come out real easy. I am not sure why I'm having problems with this one today. I don't usually have problems getting these out. Here we go. There we go. There we go. One redundant power supply. Okay. I do not know why that is not wanting to come out. But I did say this thing has some nice surprises, and those are right here. You see that? Those are solid copper heat sinks. About a pound of copper each, which if you watch the other videos that I've posted, you know, copper is my favorite thing in the world coming out of anything. It's more common than gold, easier to recover, and pays nice. Once again, you notice I'm not being gentle with this stuff. Brute force is the name of the game. Brute force the heck out of it. Okay, these heat sinks are glued to the processors. Processors are locked in place, but they do come out. And here we have, what is this? I think this is a Xeon processor. Yep. I don't know if that'll show up, but that's an Intel Xeon processor. And here we have 1 pound of solid copper. And for good measure, we've got another one. Now let me tell you something. I am an old computer geek. I've repaired computers, a good 35 years. And it takes a lot for me to be willing to just abuse these machines as I take them apart. It does take a lot. Now, when you turn something in, copper or motherboards or steel, well, steel not so much, but aluminum, it needs to be clean. By clean, I do not mean that you need to get all the dirt off of it. Not by any stretch of the imagination. What I mean is, it needs to have no other metals. It needs to be reasonably clear of foreign debris, which is why I'm taking the torch to the top of this. Whoa, excuse me a moment. Knocked over my torch. And it's not a good thing to do to a propane tank. It survived. Anyway, like I said, it needs to be reasonably free of foreign debris and other metals. The cleaner it is, the more likely you are to get paid more. As you can see, they're not worried about that. 2 1-pound copper heat sinks. Into the copper bucket it goes. Now, this motherboard is extremely dirty, as in dirt. Get your batteries off of these. They cannot be recycled. So, we're going to brush that off. Now, what you want to do is you want to look for any mounting screws. I greatly advise the use of power tools to do this. Small handheld electric screwdriver. Okay, those were 8 mounting screws that not only held the heatsink down, but also held the motherboard down. So there's a screw here. Now on most computers there's a screw on each corner. So there would normally be one here, here, and here, but not in this one. So there's 2, those 8, and I'm looking for any others. There's one right there. Always look along the edges for mounting screws. Now here's a little trick. If you can't find any more mounting screws, lift up on the board and look for the spot where it bends. This one I've got them all, but let's say I had missed this mounting screw. When I lift it up, it will bend here. Same thing anywhere else. I got all of these. Now, the proper way to clean a computer motherboard. Certain things have to be removed, and this should be consistent with every single metals broker out there, especially the ones that take electronics. All of these capacitors need to be removed. This heatsink needs to be removed. If there are copper coils on the motherboard, they need to be removed. I don't have one that has not been cleaned. My father-in-law sometimes is a bit efficient. So you remove all of these capacitors. Okay, any copper coils that you see, remove them, but leave the chips. Leave these. These contain gold. So heatsink, all of these capacitors, remove the battery, remove anything that's sticking up. You don't have to worry about these. But that is how you properly clean a motherboard. When you are done, it will look considerably different, almost bare. Okay? Keep in mind, all of these dark green places or light green places, that is where what is known as a trace or a plane is. All of these little lines. Sometimes they're made of gold, sometimes they're made of copper. On a motherboard, they're usually made of gold. So I'll put it over here where my father-in-law can get it. Now, why is this beast here giving me a problem? That is very unusual for me to have this kind of problem with this thing. There we go, that's slightly. Like I said, brute force it. Don't worry about if you're going to break it, because that's kind of the whole point, really. There we go. This one was mounted differently than other ones I'm used to. Okay, now we need to take this off, which will involve undoing this screw, and then push it that direction, and it should come right off like so. This board is not really worth anything. This is a SCSI board. It could be, but probably not worth much. Oops, it didn't go where I wanted it to go. So, okay, now everything else has been removed from this. The hard drives, the CD-ROM. This is now pretty much just an empty metal case. Okay, this is a motherboard that my father-in-law finished yesterday. This is from a small Dell desktop. So, as you can see here, this is where he removed components, capacitors, large capacitors. That there was a capacitor. The battery is gone. Some copper coils and more capacitors. You'll notice how much different this looks than the server motherboard. Around this, which is the ZIF socket, that's where the processor goes, there was a metal clamp that held down the processor. It's been removed. Backside still looks the same, but you'll notice the difference between this one and the other one. So that is how you take apart a computer and what you need to do to a motherboard. If somebody wants, I will do a video showing precisely how to clean the motherboard. Normally, the only tool that I have to use is a basic pair of wire cutters. You reach out, you grab the device, and you pop it off the board. Sometimes I have to resort to a screwdriver underneath it if it's in a tight spot. But there we are. So, thank you for watching. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, and please subscribe. I could sure use it, and also make comments down below. Interaction with the videos is what helps the channel grow. Thank you very much.